In this video, we're going to see new stuff in the garden. Yes, folks, it's July and we have new stuff going on. Can you believe it? We have new stuff. We have growing things. We're past a lot of harvests, and so we're starting to get into some other maintenance type things. And follow along. Learn what we got going on. So most of us are coming around to July of 2025. Things are either fading or they're thriving, depending on what the plant is. And we've got a lot of that going on. We actually got a new acquisition just in the past couple of weeks. A real estate friend of mine said, I've got some plants for you, something you're looking for, and oh boy was it. I've been looking for it for years. I knew where they were, but I'd never gotten one, and I got 8. So keep an eye out for what's coming out. In fact, you can see it in the frame right now. Can you zoom in and freeze the frame and figure out what it is? If you can figure out what it is, I want to see down in the comments below what you think the new plant is. I'm very excited about. We'll cover it here in a few minutes, so stick around. We've got a lot of stuff going on in here. Our weather this year. I gotta tell you, this year has been an absolute dream. A dream of a year for weather. Here in Destin, Florida, we've only hit 90 degrees according to my thermometer a few times. Most of the time it's just barely below 90 degrees. We're hitting it more often, and from now into August we're going to start hitting it a lot more. But the weather has been interesting. Now, in the mornings, right now the camera is facing north, so behind the camera 7 blocks is the Gulf of Mexico. Every single morning we have our early summer pattern going on. Just off the coast, we start the day with these storms off in the distance, and we'll sometimes have lightning, and it's beautiful. And then by 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, it starts to filter off over land. But by then, because it's coming on land, it dissolves into these wispy clouds that gives you a little bit of shade and keeps the temperatures down. It's great. And so then by 9, 10 o'clock, you know, you're coming up to a clear day. And then once the airplane is gone, we come into the other side, over us, past us, inland. We have what's called a sea breeze front. And the sea breeze front is this line of storms that forms over the water behind us, the bay, the Choctawhatchee Bay. You can see on the map here, we have this bay that surrounds us on the back side, on the north side. And it starts forming again over there, and we get these big bubbly storms that go further inland. We don't get a lot of rain ourselves, which really makes a high necessity for some decent irrigation here. It's very weird. It rains out there, it rains over there, but it won't rain here. And so that's our summer pattern that we're getting into. And I love watching weather, and I love seeing how things work and what we call our destined bubble. A lot of places have that bubble, but with us being surrounded by the Gulf of Mexico on one side, the Choctawhatchee Bay on the other side, the channel between here and Fort Walton, and the Long Peninsula, of course, it just has this little weather pattern in here that's always off from the weather forecaster. We had a special guest on the property yesterday, and you'll be seeing video of that here coming up soon if you haven't already. It was very exciting to have that person actually here on our property. And for those of you who keep saying, was it Gardner Scott? No, it wasn't Gardner Scott. We have a special guest coming up, and you'll have to see other videos with that person coming up very soon. And we were explaining to that person about our weather, and we're talking about how we don't watch the forecast because the forecast is always a little wrong. What we do, we'll look at the forecast, and then we look at our water temperature out here. Like right now, our water temperature is 87, about to turn 88 degrees. Every forecasted temperature that we have, whether it's above that or below that, is generally going to be 1 or 2 degrees closer to the water temperature, because everywhere we go, the air flows across that water and becomes a little bit more moderated. Now, I was talking about how this year has been ideal. Last year, by this time, we were already 3 months in to high 90 degrees. In fact, we didn't get below 82 degrees for over 5 months. Not the highs, not even the lows. And so when you have that kind of heat for that long, everything starts failing. The tomatoes, the beans, the okra even has a little bit of a falter, but they do pretty good. Things were blooming last year much earlier. This year, things were blooming. In fact, we'll look at the crepe myrtle here. The crepe myrtle last month, I was very confused because we have crepe myrtle flowers long before now, but now the crepe myrtles in July have come out and just shown all their pink glory just beautifully. And next month, the other crepe myrtle tree is going to do good because it's always behind this first one here. Of course, we have our garden GPS so you can tell where in the garden we are. We are, of course, in the front and side garden tour. This is the first of 3 parts that I do every single month. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the progression through the seasons, through the year. I do this every single month of the year. We are in our 4th year of doing this. I do this in such detail because it is my own journal, my own references for what's going on in the garden. And I will go and look at these videos. You'll notice down below there's indexes down there with links and other information that you can look at and find out even more than what I can cover in the video. You'll see a symbol over here on the right side of the screen if I can put it on here. So if I'm talking about something that you want to learn more about, go down the index and see if there's a link for it. So let's get going. Look at this garden. See some new stuff coming up. I'm very excited because we're going to start with it. So I'm sitting here facing our brand new crop right here. And no, it's not the Comfrey. The Comfrey is gone. We'll talk about that momentarily. I ran and got my Magellan hat. There's no sponsorship. I've just worn these things for like 25 years and I like them. And I'm still wearing, of course, my safety glasses with infrared blocking. Isn't that cool? All right. Let's get going on with this tour. We are, of course, up here in the front southeast corner of the garden, and I'm going to flip the camera around so you can see what's really going on. And of course, you can see here, this is the little mound we've typically been calling the zombie wood chip pile. And we renamed it the zombie comfrey pile. Well, if you know comfrey, you know that's not comfrey. Some of you, I know, already knows what this is, and I'm very excited to have this. Stick around and I will show you the flower, the very beautiful flower that comes from these plants. These are canna lilies, and I had a realtor friend of mine call me up. She knew I was looking for canna lilies of some kind, and she said, okay, I think I have exactly what you're looking for. My mom is trying to get rid of a bunch of these because they grow prolifically. In fact, if you'll notice down here at the base of all 8 plants, we have a pup already coming out. These things have only been in the ground for just over 2 weeks, so I'm very excited to have these, and every single one of them is coming up strong with at least 1 pup. Some of them even have 2. So that's just so super thrilling for me. These things, we'll show the flower in just a minute. These things, I did have the comfrey up in front of these, and I'm going to be replanting that comfrey. I've been doing a whole lot of propagating, folks, a whole lot of propagating, and that comfrey was an attempt to propagate comfrey. I was always told comfrey is a tough plant, and I thought, well, let's see how tough it is and plant it out in the heat of the summer. I planted several roots, a few cuttings, and I'm afraid they all died. Now, I'm not disturbing these yet because I want to see if maybe in a month or 2 when it starts cooling down, if they do come back, because I want to be able to call this the zombie comfrey bed at this point. I'd be very excited to see that. The okra bed right behind that is just going nuts. We have a lot of okra in here. In fact, we've had friends, neighbors come and harvest their own okra. This thing here is huge. Let me just show you real quick. Oh, let me try to get this off. I like carrying a little pair of scissors this time of year so I can do that better. But if you want to find out if that thing is still, this is huge. Look at that. This is a hill country red okra. There's a lot of it in here. There's a lot, and it's looking a little wilty right now because it's in the heat of the sun. Look how big these things are. These things are monster size. Look at that. Wow, that thing is enormous. But check out the flowers. They are beautiful. This is such a beautiful front yard crop because of the flowers. The okra is just the icing on the cake. But if you want to find out, like if this okra is still good, you bend over the top. Now you see how that kind of didn't break cleanly? That means this thing is starting to get woody. Now I can tell Mrs. Bowtie might have to just cut off that much, or it might be she might get 1 slice out of this. That's not a great okra. These small ones, like this smaller one right here, this is a great okra right up here. And I know that one's going to be tasty. But I'll take this. Ah, it's all woody. It's all woody. Okay, yeah. You know what I'm going to do with that? I'm going to just toss it back in the bed. Those seeds will sprout next year, I bet you. I'll be thinning more okra next year like crazy. Most of the okra has been doing good along that front, and then those 2 far sections over there have been, 3 far sections have been doing good. I'm having a trouble with my irrigation system, which is why I think I'm not doing well over here. We do have Over here on the pomegranate tree, check out how massive this pomegranate is. This thing is a monster. It is ready to go. We're going to be harvesting pomegranates here pretty soon and processing them. That's one monster on this one tree. And if I come around here, there is on the other side another monster pomegranate. Isn't that just amazing? So I gave our guest one of these pomegranates. Inside it is a bunch of seeds, and those seeds, you just drop them in a tray of soil. Drop all those seeds in a tray of soil and see what pops up. Sometimes you get 2 or 3, sometimes you get all of them popping up. So yes, we've been talking about the turmeric for so many months. I thought we should get into a new plant, and that's these cannas. I know they spread. They're going to take time to control, and I know how to do that. I've done that before, so I feel very good about these things. I'm at a neighbor's house just a 40-second walk away, and look at those beautiful little reddish specks down inside this Canna Lily plant. These things are going to be beautiful. This is the same kind I have. I actually had permission to take some of these, but I didn't need to take them because we got them already. I'm so excited. And of course, we have our rosemary that I trimmed back last month in the hopes of getting rid of this. I think Shawnee over at Shawnee Grows is the one that asked about aspergilloes. And yellow, yeah, I'll put it on the screen. And she was asking if this, I think she was asking about this particular plant. I don't think that's the problem. I think we are just getting to the heat of the summer. This thing gets direct sun all day long. So this rosemary doesn't get a lot of chance. These are used to this type of condition though, and they are still, look here, this is one of the cuts we made last month. Or a month before, sometime recently, and look, there's a brand new branch coming off there. There's another cut right here, and you can see there's 2 branches already coming off on this thing. It's very good looking, very promising. There's a cut. This thing's already growing here, so things are taking off. Here's another one of those cuts. This has 2 branches already coming out. It's going to get bushier and look better every time we trim it. So trimming is important for improving the health of your plants. This, of course, is our American Beautyberry. It's looking wonderful. It's starting to get its berries. This thing is a rabid spreader, folks, which I didn't plant this. This was planted by a bird, most likely. They pooped it out, and here comes a plant. So I'm going to let these things grow in this little area of the garden over here. See what we get. See how difficult it is to control. Down in here, of course, we have one of our turmerics, one of the first turmerics for this tour. And look at this thing trying to come up through the grass. These things are tough. I don't know how this one's going to do because it is in sun right now. It's coming up after 10 o'clock and it's going to be in sun for a few hours. So this thing really doesn't have a lot of chance. One of the reasons I planted turmeric in so many places is because I want to find out how these things do survive in various conditions. And I'll have better information next year for planting these and planting future beds. Maybe even putting a tree over here so that it doesn't get so much. Also, right here next to it, we have the new fig tree. So it's going to be casting shadow on here. We'll just have to see how it happens. I know the American Beautyberry, it'll grow in sun or shade. And we're continuing to learn. And of course, part of all our air traffic every summer is the banner planes that fly along the beach and have banners advertising to the beach just 7 blocks away. The brown turkey fig tree, it has been planted. If you saw that short, we got this thing planted in the ground. I'm so excited. It is having a little bit of trouble because it does not have water. Right now, I do have an irrigation head that I'm going to be running a line to try to get this thing some more water every other day. And of course, as is our summer pattern here, we have all these banner planes flying over. The second one literally came about 30 seconds after the first one. We have 2 of our Thai hot peppers here for a friend. If they get them, great. They're starting to look good. I just potted them up and I'm looking forward to seeing some productions on these. I have not seen any flowers yet, but they've been in the soil for a little bit and they're doing well. That right there is the mint. This for this area helps to keep the squirrels and the rats at bay. It is for their own good. We don't want them eating our okra and getting me mad at them. Not really. Do I get mad at the squirrels? Not really. Mrs. Bowtie's GreenStalks are looking amazing. The Calibrachoas, they're not doing great. We're still trying to figure this place out. And we don't know if it needs more sun. We do come in here and turn this 1/3 of a turn every single day. And they both have been exposed to the sun. Now I just noticed, oh my goodness, this thing did not get its water. Somehow, somebody playing with strawberries pulled that thing out and forgot to put it back in. No names, no names. Okay, so we'll have to get some water in here manually because I messed that up. Anyway, we have the strawberries in here. In fact, we have these amazing looking strawberries. If you haven't seen a video on propagating these yet and having endless strawberry plants, it's very important, people. You can do this. You can do strawberries without replacing them every month if you just watch them, pay attention to them, and look at what they do naturally, because they want to make more plants for you every single time. They're in these little yogurt cups right now. Look at this. This thing is rooted so far in that it is ready to go. We're going to get this thing planted out as soon as I record that video, which I'm hoping to get recorded today. Yep, there's a special guest. All right, folks. So yes, the Calibrachoas, they're giving us a little bit of color, but you really can't see the pattern in that one where the colors are yellow, orange, and purple, kind of candy striped around. It's a little bit discouraging. And of course, a bunch of you saw the removal of the Sasqua hedge. It was so exciting to get this thing down. Mrs. Bowtie and I, we've had that thing since December. Every time we walk out here, we feel like our hedges are missing, and it's wonderful. I do want to show you right here, though. I've been talking a lot about this vine right here sticking up. Can you see that? Can you see this wonderful little vine? I've been removing these as I can. This is the Smilax vine. If you haven't seen it, you'll see there's a little symbol in the upper right-hand corner here that says there's a link. You can go look at the Smilax videos that we've been doing. This is a very nutritious, edible vine. Andrew Jackson's army survived on it during the Seminole Wars, and it is tasty. These little ends look wonderful. Nom, nom, nom. Tastes a little like asparagus. When you get down here to the vine part, oh my, they start growing thorns that'll tear you up. This is a baby one, but once they get bigger, they look dangerous. Keep those things in check. But in the meantime, don't let tasty little treats like this get past you, because they are delicious. We're getting into the season, so they're a lot smaller now. I've seen these as big as my pinky. I still enjoy them. Here pretty soon we'll be going over to Cousin Bowtie and Mark's brand new house, and we'll be looking at their property. They had a ton of Smilax growing up everywhere. It was a mess. Keep an eye out for that video. Be sure to subscribe. Tell me in the comments below if you've ever dealt with Smilax. And did you eat it? Oh, it is so tasty, especially those tender tips. Yes, we're onto the fig tree, and because we traveled so much, this is the branch right here that I showed last month that had a whole bunch of figs, and we traveled so much, I completely missed the harvest. The birds got it. That's okay, so they didn't go to waste. But I did miss the harvest, and we're short a few figs. I've got to figure out where to get about 8 ounces more of dehydrated figs, because I want to do one recipe of those fig bars that I love so much. They're actually a date bar recipe. We did it with the dehydrated figs, and they are amazing. Oh yes, but I did, if I come down here, you can see across the bottom, I did trim up everything. We had our special guest coming to inspect the property, and I had to make everything look perfect, of course, for that person. Not really. It was fun. And of course, in front of the fig tree, we come down to our sunchokes. I'm so excited. These sunchokes are starting to grow. I did, of course, pull a lot of grass out of that middle box and the top box. I say I. Mrs. Bowtie's been getting out here, getting ready for our special guest, and she did a lot of work. You'll notice it's cleared over there. That's my bed. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But it's cleared right along this edge. It looks beautiful. Mrs. Bowtie did all that. She did a wonderful job. I'm going to have to let her go in the garden more often, because that right there is amazing. These sunchokes are starting to come up, and I'm very excited because we'll be getting flowers on these after they get so tall. They're in buried pots so they don't spread all over the place, which is something you want to do with sunchokes. I'm actually trying to figure out how I can do this with a larger containment system, removing these pots and maybe putting some kind of liner under the ground to keep these things within this area, but give them a larger space to grow. I'm tempted to make a container with the DeWitt Sunbelt fabric and maybe some kind of barricade around it. We'll have to see what happens. That's future plans, folks. This is Future Plan Bowtie. Over here at this little bed here, while Mrs. Bowtie was doing this, I did some double digging down in this bed, got rid of a lot of grassy roots, and I planted a whole bunch of stuff in here. In fact, I planted sunflowers, I planted zinnias, and I planted, okay, yeah, you can laugh, I planted some nasturtium seeds with very little hope of anything happening. I'm pretty sure these are going to all be sunflower seeds. Now that might be zinnia seeds over there. There's a lot of sunflower seeds coming up. I didn't plant them that close together though, so that might be zinnia as well, those three in the middle. But there are a bunch of sunflower seeds in here. I planted them, each seed 8 to 12 inches apart so that they would have room to grow. And I am very close to considering redigging this bed farther, the way it used to be back when it was an artichoke bed, and making this a sunflower bed. We do like the sunflowers. They're beautiful, and of course some of y'all know that in the outer garden bed tour, which is the second part of 3 parts that I do every month, you can see my backyard neighbor's sunflowers that have been taunting me over the fence, and I had to write a very strange text to him and his wife. We laughed about it. It's funny. So here we have our yarrow over here. Of course, the yarrow is starting to wane a little bit as we get into the summer. We did a lot of trimming back. It had a lot of flowers. It still has a lot of flowers. In fact, we can go cut some of these for Mrs. Bowtie. You can see a lot of brown tips over there that we cut back though. The yarrow itself, in fact, let me get out of here, out of the sun, and show you. The yarrow itself is growing strong, getting ready for the fall season. This thing is going to be thick once again. We trimmed it back hard. You can see there's where we trimmed it back. This thing will eventually die off. It's not ready yet. Down here in the base, you can see there's big old stems down there. Wow, I can't get over how big those are. Beautiful. This yarrow will be here for a very, very long time. Right behind the yarrow, of course, we have my Cultivating Smilax pot. And I've been having fun with this, just seeing how it grows. Right now, there is nothing easy to pop off here. This is a tough leaf, and I'm just trying to experiment with finding out how much these can grow. This thing has all these little fine needle sharp thorns on it already. As soon as it starts developing those thorns, that part is no longer good to pick. You have to get the tender parts at the top that don't have thorns. This is an older Smilax that is just sitting here waiting for its time to go. There's oh, looky there, there's the other one. Oh, I didn't see that until just now. There's another big old Smilax popping up right there. Oh, I'm so excited. I was not sure how long that would take. There's one of those root tubers under there, and it is coming up strong. That's cool. I'd never seen it actually pop above ground, so that's a good thing to identify as well. I actually got this pot so that I can identify the Smilax at this stage, but also so I have a way to cultivate it for eating. I wonder if that's just going to be a nice thick stalk. That would be cool. Right here at the base of the windmill, of course, we have our Amaryllis, our first Amaryllis we're going to be looking at, and they're looking beautiful. They did not flower this year. I'm not sure why. They're not in a great place. I may have to relocate those. But look right over here, we have our Canna, and I cut off the flowers off most of these, but we have our, because they were ugly. We have our Canna, and immediately this is the one of the ones that put up 2 pups right away. And I'm watching for a third, but I haven't seen one yet. Let me brush this away. Maybe I can discover it on camera. Not so lucky, but this one's turning into 2 already. Can you imagine how these things are going to be year after year? We're going to have a lot of these. They're going to be tough to control. Next to that, of course, we have our thyme, and there's some Mexican rough clover down in there. Oh my goodness, looky here, looky here, looky here. This is the first time I have seen a cicada husk in years. Several years. We've been here 4 years. I think I saw one before that, the first year. But yes, this thyme is going good. I have this cage on it so that the American sycamore leaves that we're going to look at here right after this don't fall on this thing and kill my poor little thyme plant. I'm going to have to get better with herbs. I have in my sights the GreenStalk for this purpose. We will be getting to the front and back pollinator beds right after this tree update. This is the American sycamore tree. It looks beautiful. I tell people every month, this is an amazing tree to have. You see that peeling bark? That is not unhealthy. That's the way it grows. And it drops those pieces of bark and they get sucked up in the lawnmower. And these very heavy pieces of bark that it sheds are just wonderful for the compost. Oh, the compost loves these big old browns that we can stick in there. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. The other brown, of course, are the leaves that it drops all year long, and these fall on the lawn, and I just mow them up, put them right into the compost. So this is a beautiful tree to have for lots of browns in the compost. I've been working on my compost for 4 years, actually for 5 years now, and I've been discovering you need lots and lots of browns, a lot more than you think. If your compost is smelly, folks, take a look at your browns, because that's going to be your control. I do have a branch on the back side over there that's coming down and touching the roof over here, and it needs to get cut. Gonna have to pull out the big ladder and cut that thing, and it's killing me. I hate to do that, but insurance is going to tell me I need to. And of course the 2 crepe myrtles look amazing. We have this one here that is just all in its glory. I did have to trim this up because we're right over the road here. The city will come by and do it if I don't, and they don't do a bad job. In fact, they do a better job than me most of the time, but I try to give them as little work as I can because we do have such a great crew. And this one over here will start to come out here pretty soon. It is interesting this year because the heat came on us so much slower this year. We saw the very gradual pinking and blooming of the flowers, and they turned into these berries which will stay here. This is a persistent crepe myrtle tree. It's the kind you want to get so it doesn't make a mess everywhere. These berries stay on here and feed the birds through the winter. But on this exact same branch, if I just go around here, you can see there's actually a branch of the old berries from last year still here. So the birds can still feed on these things, even now, after this has been here for almost a year. And so this is a really good tree. It's a favorite hangout for cardinals and the thresher and a whole bunch of birds that we have around here. These seeds, yep, that's seeds in there. These seeds are good food for them, apparently. Crepe myrtles, they're beautiful. They feed the birds. They keep life going. And of course, here in the northwest corner of the property, we have our Juniper, the American Eastern Cedar. It still has some of these identifying greenish blue berries on it. We were just talking about that on a live. I think it might have been Shawnee's live. We were talking about these trees. They're wonderful. These berries actually are not good in great quantities, but they can add flavor to things. You don't want to eat very many of them, though. And of course, behind that juniper, we have our Pindo date palm. And we looked last month, if you hadn't seen, we actually climbed up the tree and we looked in there and saw the varying stages of the Pindo dates. You can see those yellow things right there in the middle behind that leaf. That's the Pindo dates, ripe and ready to pick. Now, these dates are not the thing that you're used to eating. They are high, high, high in pectin. Lots of pectin. In fact, you can eat one and it has a unique flavor that I like. Some people do like better. And you will eat one and chew all the juices out of it, and you stick a second one in your mouth, and momentarily you will feel like you have a mouthful of dental floss, something you cannot process. Good flavor. They make wines and jams. I made some good jellies out of this that really worked. So that's our tree update. Now, first off, in the front pollinator bed, now these are shaded beds. Almost all the time they get a little sun in the morning and a little sun at night. We have lots of turmeric coming up all over the place in here. We have, of course, our Wandering Jew coming in. We have our pineapple, and I am so excited to see how beautiful this pineapple looks. It's growing strong, and I hope that in 2 years we can have a pineapple growing out of that thing. I've got another pineapple already started, and I'm going to be doing more. The yarrow over here, this spent looking thing in here, got to get in here, trim those back, and get this thing a new lease on life. Get some of those weeds out of there. Yep, those are not good. I see the ivy growing up them. I see a popcorn tree over there. I see a lot of things growing in here that's going to really make it hard for that yarrow. In here, full shade. It still survives. It still survives. And of course, we have our 2 Brugmansia back here, the red and the yellow. The yellow one over here is almost about to start giving us flowers. It's got these little tiny growths all in it like this right here, and there's going to be little flowers popping out of these real soon they hang down. It's the angel trumpet, folks. It's highly poisonous. That's why it's up here in the property a little more. But it is so beautiful when it starts to really bloom out here in about a month. Hopefully in the August garden tour we will get to see that. The mums, of course, but here and across the way, have both gone through their next cycle of brilliant flowers and need to be deadheaded again. We can just razor those off and they'll grow some more flowers. We have our Egyptian walking onion. Yes, they are hidden here in the grass, and I'm kind of playing with it this year to see how tough they are. I haven't pulled much of the grass. Okay, I haven't pulled any of the grass. Oh, I pulled a little bit here and there, but you can see here, there's these plants sitting here just growing. The little bulbils that come up at the top, they're already down trying to start new plants. I don't think they're going to have a good time of it this year because there's just too much in here for them to get to the ground. There are a lot of these in here though. This is a plant here. There's another one right here. See that right there? That's more Egyptian walking onion. I'm wanting to find out how tough they really are. There's another one right down there. There's several right over in that direction. So we'll see what happens. I'm not going to let them die, of course, but I'm just letting them go as far as they can. Oh, looky here. I just pulled out some bulbils. There's the bulbil top. That gets heavier and heavier. Eventually this will fall over, stick to the ground, grow a new plant. This may not be mature enough to do that, but you can help it along by finding a little bit of soil and just putting it in contact down there. We'll see if that grows. I don't think it will. Lots of weeds to pull in here. Again, I'm halfway doing it on purpose. I'm halfway doing it because I'm lazy, people. Yes, 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 I know. I'm lazy. I did want to point out one thing here right underneath the poinsettia from last Christmas. Notice this little plant right down in here. This thing is one of the rosemary plants, and I am starting to experiment with these rosemary plants to see if they will survive in different places, much like I've been doing with the turmeric, people. And we'll find out how well this survives in the shaded area between the two Brugmansia plants that we've got literally soldiering it on either side. There's actually supposed to be some turmeric. Nope, that's not the turmeric. That is a previous attempt at butterfly weed, at milkweed for butterflies, and I think that has all failed. And we're going to start here at this end of the back pollinator bed. We have, of course, over here the Thai plant, and down in here there's one of those Canna Lilies. This thing is just amazing. This is a stem that pretty much failed immediately. I went ahead and planted it in there, and look how strong this new plant is over here. I'm wondering if this thing will actually flower this year. Do they grow that fast? I hope so, but I truly don't know. Of course, turmeric right here. We've got turmeric everywhere. You know that if you've been watching. Last month was a month of, last 2 months have been the month of turmeric. These Thai plants here, though, this is the one that was down nothingness in just 3 months ago. And look at how thick this thing is starting to grow. It's beautiful. We have 5 Thai plants across here. Amaryllis. These are some giant amaryllis that we're taking care of. More turmeric in here. Another one of those Canna Lilies, people. Looky here, looky here, looky here. Now this one's failed immediately. We already, okay, so the ribbon means that's the one that came, oh yes, there's the cut tip right there. Okay, so this is the existing plant. What is this then? Did this one have 2 stems? I don't remember. Well, in any case, there are 2 new plants coming out here. So this Canna Lily will be coming out strong. And, oh, see, now that's the kind of tree you want to pull up, roots and all. Yes, sirree. That's beautiful. Turmeric, Thai plant, huge turmeric. Notice here up in the shaded area, these turmeric seem to be getting bigger and stronger. And I wanted to show you, so we got 5 Thai plants. 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of buried underneath that turmeric. And down here, I told you folks, this thing here was nothing. And look at this Thai plant coming out now. I am so excited to see this. I admit I was a little worried there, but has a strong shoot coming out there, another one there, another one over here. This thing is looking good. And of course we come around to our tier garden, the top 2 beds of what will eventually be 3 more beds, a total of 5 beds. Our first major arch trellis here, this is like 17 feet long. And it has held a lot of things. It's held beans, it's held peas, And this year it's holding that thing right there. Tell me in the comments if you remember what that is. Yes, that's the drama from last year. I have planted a couple more rosemary in here. There's one there. There's another one right. Oh, let me just go on this other side here. You can see these rosemary a little better. And more turmeric everywhere. I actually have a lot of zinnias coming in here. Mrs. Bowtie weeded this thing. It looks beautiful. I thought, ooh, while this soil is empty, go throw some zinnia seeds in there. Some of you might have seen in, I can't remember, one of the live streams I was on. I said, yeah, I just planted a whole bunch of zinnias because I saw more rain was coming. Well, that's those zinnias. Turmeric. Oh, another rosemary. Looky there. And of course, looky here, our dino kale plant. This thing is still tasty. I did see on Callie Kim, she was talking about having these new growths, and you can just cut off the old growth over there and start with a brand new plant here. And that kind of got me excited. I think I've gotten all the seeds off of here. We do have a bunch of plants. In fact, if you watch the outer garden bed tour, you'll get an update on the kale seedlings that we planted out. I had 11 seeds off of this plant right here. And I took those 11 seeds, planted them, and 5 of them came up. It wasn't the prettiest of situations, folks, but they grew. And I'm happy. I've been happy with 1 plant. 2 plants, wonderful. 5, oh my goodness, I'm going to be rich. So I will be cutting this off with the loppers sometime pretty soon because it's really looking rough, and I am loving the look of this new kale plant. Now I'm going to take a few of these nasty ones off here, mainly because I'm on camera and I feel obligated to make it look like we're gardening. But I get up here to a pretty one like that right there. It's a little bug eaten. I check the bottom down here for insects. I don't see anything with a cursory view. I like coming out picking these, and I'll go in with 3 to 5 leaves and I'll sit in front of this TV, and this is my snack. It's awesome. I will simply come in here, peel off that leaf, get the stem out of there. That right there, folks. That's some good kale. That's the dino kale. That's the auto kale. I love that. I never liked kale before in my life. And so now we have a mystery revealed, people. I am so very excited. I thought last month, did I have some cowpeas in here? Well, these are yard-long beans, Thai yard-long beans. And oh, there's another flower coming right there. This thing will turn into a bean about 1.5 feet to 3 feet long. And these are survivors from last year. There's a couple over there on that side. There's a couple still growing up in the grass over there that I could probably train up here. It's not going to be a prolific crop. It wasn't a favorite of ours. We'll have to see what happens with those. On the other side of here, of course, we've got a rosemary with a little bit of grass growing in it. Now, rosemary has some allelopathic properties, and it keeps some of this grass from growing. It's not perfect, but it does help tremendously. So past that, of course, we have, folks, yes, the magic word. There's some more of those cowpeas right there. Oh, here's a nice cowpea right here. I need to get that thing off of that plant and get it growing over somewhere else, because this plant is important. Anybody know what this plant is to the right that I'm about to reveal to you? So this is more of that Thai yard-long bean. Hopefully that will take off. Yes, folks, this is a loofah. In fact, we've had a few failures already, which is not unusual. But see this right here? You'll notice it comes out of this little cluster. These are the male flowers. These are the flowers with the pollen. And you'll notice up here, you see that little thing right there? That's a female flower, and that's a fruit at the base of the female flower. Now, this thing is already starting to brown up, so I'm not sure it's going to be viable. But pretty soon, we are going to start having viable female flowers come out of here. That's a little fruit right there at the base of it. There's another one right up here. The bees will pollinate these female flowers, and these will become our loofah for the year. And this thing is starting to grow and take off. It's going to be a fantastic plant this year. I have noticed it's kind of going off to the right. It's finding that this end has more sun, so I have a feeling it's going to major in the sunny side of this trellis. It gets sun most of the day. And of course, over here I have one of our mints that I have grown out quite a bit here. If you follow along, you know we had that great mint video. Oh, look, there's that symbol in the top right hand corner of the screen. It says there's a link somewhere. These things just are beautiful. I love this. I believe this is the chocolate mint. Look at the little flowers on there. Just microscopic little beautiful flowers. That is awesome.
So yes, I let this thing grow in bags, under control. They're supervised, they are babysat by this grow bag. And of course, some of you may remember this Asiatic fern of some kind that I kind of inherited, so I really don't know its history. It's starting to grow out some new bright green branches, and I thought that was very interesting. I do like the variegated color in here. It's kind of a green and yellow. How cool is that? But here's the other new branch that's grown out. Very cool. Got to keep those ivies out of here though. And of course, back here behind this arch trellis, we have our compost pile. 12 yards of compost, probably reduced down to close to 11 yards right now. It's pretty long, goes back there behind the grape arbor, which we're very pleased about. This grape arbor is looking wonderful. We have inside a whole bunch of grapes. If you saw that production note short that I did a while back, you know that we have these things bagged. Our special guest that you'll be seeing here came in and videoed in here. We have these things bagged so that the birds can't get to them. Remember last year we completely missed our harvest, but it wasn't this prolific. I wasn't going to miss it this year. I've got one more trip planned, folks, and then I'm home till December. I'm very excited about that. But these things, these grapes are looking good. There's 70 or 80 of these organza bags in here, and this is going to be a much better year, I hope. This one is not covered. It's still a little bit hard. They're still kind of hard. These are seeded. They are Scuppernong grapes, and so we're looking at making either jelly or wine with this. So be sure to subscribe, stay tuned for more coming up. We're always trying to put out evergreen content, which means it's content that you can watch this year, next year. You'll be able to watch it in 2082 if this channel still exists, and I think it might. Looking up here, this one, oh, still pretty hard. Okay, so they all still seem pretty hard, not ready for picking. I did take the bird's nest out of here. Our thrasher nest that was up in here, I noticed there was no traffic over here, and we had a thrasher nest last year in the blueberries, and I know a crow got that one. I think a crow may have gotten this one because it was just right there on the top, right in plain view, and we had a lot of crow activity in that time period. I ended up taking the nest out of here because I didn't want another bird coming in and doing the same thing. It kind of made it difficult. See, that's still hard. Today is July 12th. And behind the grape arbor, remember how much of a mess this used to be? I got it all cleaned up. I pulled this pile of dirt over here on top of the landscape fabric that I'm trying to get the weeds out of. I'm either removing the landscape fabric or I'm going to do a better job over here. And that landscape fabric actually goes underneath the big, huge compost pile all the way up to the date palm tree. It was a mistake. I know. I did it wrong. Don't put wood chips on top of a landscape fabric. But we're coming around here to this side of the property, and this is the side lot of our house. Down here, I talked about this pomegranate several times, this pomegranate tree tray, and you'll see there are several coming up in here, and I'm going to eventually be carefully pulling some of these out and putting them in solo cups or pots of some kind. We'll have to see what happens. I don't know if these are actually pomegranates too. They might be. They look very similar. So we'll have to see if this thing is full of pomegranates. Now these seeds were actually from 2022. So these are old seeds that I just stuck 100 of them in this tray. Have to see if that works. Speaking of seeds in a tray, anybody know what this is? This is loquat trees that I stuck in a tray. Bunch of seeds, just stuck them in a tray. And there we have a tray of loquat seeds that I've never done anything with. I could take these and put these in cups and have even more loquat trees. Right now, I'm a little overloaded with loquats. I've given several away. Maybe we'll have another round next year when our loquats actually start forming. These are the Mexican lantana. These are such a beautiful leaf. Let me get out here in the sun where you can see the brilliance of these. These little buds will close up at night and open back up when the sun hits it. They are just a beautiful, beautiful flower. This thing planted itself a couple of feet away from the house, so I feel comfortable with it right here. Eventually, it's going to have to be moved, but I want to get a couple more going somewhere. We'll have to see how that works. There's actually 2 huge turmeric plants hidden back behind here that are just living life happy. And of course, we're coming around to the blueberry bushes, and you say, that's not a blueberry bush. Yeah, I know it's not. This is the vine that covers my blueberries every year this time of year. I've got to get in here and pull those things off. It does kind of look beautiful, but I don't want it to kill my brand new blueberry patch. Look at all the green growth in here. This is from this past winter when I trimmed out a whole bunch of old woody growth, and we have so much new growth coming up in here now. I'm just very excited for next year's production because I believe we're going to do a lot better next year. So I'm kind of letting this area go a little bit wild, a little bit unkempt. Let nature take over, let nature mend itself in here, and then we're going to be back to it. I will be applying some of that soil acidifier in here very soon. I have a area that's 20 feet deep and about 18 feet wide. It's a triangle, and I put about 12 pounds of soil acidifier in this 225 square foot, triangular foot area. Yeah, it's a triangle. Made up of triangles, right? Is this place not just the coolest spot? I love it. Our guest was here and recording just out in the sun back behind here, and I said, here, go in. And I encouraged him to go in. It's like 10 degrees cooler. Oh my goodness, it's amazing in here. It's one of the reasons why I like these arch trellises, because you got a little room in here. You can bring a chair and sit down and just really take it easy. This is awesome. So that is the front and side garden tour, folks. If you have not done so yet, please remember we do have links to a lot of Amazon products in our description below. We encourage you to use those links to shop on Amazon. If you don't buy the thing that it links directly to, but you do buy other stuff within a certain period of time, we do get credit for those sales, and we get a tiny bit of the proceeds from that. So be sure to use those links to go to Amazon for your regular shopping to help support the channel. We appreciate it. As always, you can go over and see us on Facebook, on Instagram. I'm still working on the TikTok page, but it is out there. And of course, our website, which doesn't have a lot on it yet because we're just kind of holding a place now until we find our direction. Yes, I have a direction. I just don't know what it is yet. Kind of the ADD thing going on in my mind. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. So thank you for joining me in my chaos and the thing I love the most right now, the garden, the growing, watching things develop. It's wonderful. And remember, of course, your garden doesn't have to be perfect. Don't wait until things are perfect. It doesn't have to be. That does not make a good garden. It just has to be yours, folks, and you've got to love it. And you will love it. Thank you for joining. Have a blessed day. It's as hard as a rock. I wanted to taste it. I can't even bite it. Yeah. Oh, it does have a taste, though. Interesting. It does. It has an interesting taste.